I am sure many of you wonder exactly how does Alexa work? And that's what the purpose of this conference is, so that you can have a better understanding of the whole process of Alexa. Now, I'm sure you hear people say, "Oh, my Alexa ranking has gone from..." Turn that off. My Alexa ranking's gone from 14 million to 1.2 million. Wow, it's working. Well, after you understand how it all works, you'll understand that when you're above the 100,000 number, the way that it rates and how it works is really kind of relative. So let's check this out. See, this is Google. Google is ranked number 1. So I'm sure you all assume Google probably gets a lot more traffic than the next one, Facebook. Now, what's traffic? Is traffic a unique IP address? Whereas I and Steve and Ava and Dr. Millionaire, Mr. Gordon, James, Mr. Widget, Mr. Gadget, Item A, we all have different IP addresses, so we would be considered traffic. So we make this assumption that that's what it means, and in a way it does. Google is the number 1 in the wide terminology of traffic, whereas Facebook is number 2. But let's look at one that gives us some ideas on how this all works, and that's the Warrior Forum. You can see here the Warrior Forum. I don't know if you can see that. 17,023 people are on their site right now. It's a forum that does that. It'll tell you how many people are on the site at any particular time. So we know this as a number. There's 17,023 people on the site. Now let's go to Alexa, and they got a ranking of 139, which, I mean, this is incredible. That's why they can charge what they charge for their advertising on there. So we go to the traffic stats, and you see this part here. It's called reach. I'm sure many of you looked at reach and wondered, what does reach mean? Well, reach is the percentage of traffic out of a finite number of 1 million. They use number 1 million. So what they're saying here is that 0.67 of 1 million, so we take 0.67 times 1 million, and we get 670,000 unique visits. Well, wait a minute. This is saying 670,000. But you go to their site and they say 17,023. So what's going on? Well, as I've researched Alexa and in their blogs and in their stuff, I've come to the conclusion it's combined. Their ranking is based on a combined measure of reach and page views. Reach is determined by the number of unique Alexa users who visit a site on a given day. I come to the site, I visit it. My page views are the number of requests from me, my own IP address, the different pages. So I may come to Veritech.com or Warrior Forum and look at 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 different pages. Those are all counted as reach, page view. Okay? So that 670,000 internet users visiting the warriorforum.com is the number of visitors times the number of different pages of that site they look at. Now, there's quite a few pages and stuff to look at in the Warrior Forum. So you take 670,000 and you divide it by 17,000, which equals about 40 page views per IP. 40. Alright, does that kind of give you some ideas now how this works? Then I can't tell you what the numbers are for the other sites I have here, so we're going to use this as a anchor to make some plausible determinations. You know what plausible means? We're guessing, but it sounds good. A plausible argument is an argument that's not necessarily all based on fact. It's also based on guessing, like a theory. And a lot of people these days have totally misconstrued the whole purpose of what theory means. Theory is a well-educated guess, whereas the opposite of a well-educated guess is what? An ignoramus's guess? And who's to determine who's really well-educated and who isn't? And educated in what? We could get off on the whole theory of everything in another meeting. So we're going to use this as a standard, 40 pages. So, you know, Facebook. When you come to Facebook, do you go all over the place? Do you look at pages all over the place, or are you pretty much there on your one interactive page? One must assume, from my own experience with Facebook, I don't go all over the place. It all comes to me, which is just what a typical social networking system is. It brings everything to you. You don't go to everything. Okay, are we clear on that? With Facebook, would you all tend to agree that's a plausible argument to say that people that go to Facebook pretty much sit on their wall? For the most part. So we would say that it would be unlikely on a daily basis for people going to Facebook to go look at 40 pages. We have to guess. I would say maybe 10. From my own experience. Don't really do a lot of jumping around in Facebook. In direct contrast, in Google, how many pages do you view in Google? Well, I don't go to Google to sit there on Google. I search, and when I search, I pop all over the place. So I could literally be looking at 50, 100, 200 pages in a given day with Google. So in reality, Facebook may actually be more popular than Google. You look at Google's reach. 49.82. You multiply 49.82 times 1 million. Yeah, I think you get one. You get 49 million, something like that. Yeah, 50 million. We'll round it out. So you got 50 million page views, something like that. So we go to Facebook and we do the same thing. 45 million. Based on the way this works. However, this number right here determines your page rank. Are we clear on this so far? So if I have 44.587 reaches, page views, you know, that percentage of a million, or that standard, coming to my site, and nobody else but one other is above that, there's only one other company that has the highest percentage of the million in their reach, they then get to be called number one. As Alexa rankings work, there's an exponential nature to this. Do you understand what I mean by that? Let me see. I'm going to give you a site that and that has absolutely no ranking really at all. I think that's it. Yeah. The ranking on that is 19,899,313, and by just the very nature of me looking at it, I've just increased its stats because I'm going to it. It has a reach of 0.000003. So let's multiply that 0.000003 times 1 million. That means, on the average, 3 people are visiting the site per day. Well, that would be me. I'm the one visiting the site because I just set it up. When I first set it up, it had no ranking whatsoever. Now, if I go and I just view more pages instead of just the front page, I can push up my Alexa ranking just by me viewing more pages. And it's really easy because the competition out here in the 20 million is very weak. Do you all understand that? So I could easily go from 19 million to 1 million just breathing on it. And if I have a small group of people marketing with me, 5 or 10 people, and they go look at it and they view all the different, let's say it's a blog with lots of different pages. I got a group of 5 people each viewing 100 pages a day. That's 500. I take that 500 divided by 1 million. And it gives me a page ranking of 0.0006. It just exploded my Alexa ranking. Has nothing to do with 100 and... Look. That means nothing. The reputation, sites linking in, means nothing when it comes to your stats. It means nothing. Unless those sites linking in are actually driving traffic. Okay? I want to be really clear of this. We're not talking about sites linking in. We're just looking at reach, because I often hear people claim, wow, look, man, our site's doing great. We went from 14 million to, 800,000. We're the bomb. Well, it's a good... Well, Alexa's function is to give you statistics, Clyde, and you can determine from those statistics, if you know how to read them, Now, yes, an Alexa ranking of number 1 does indicate that that site is the most popular site on the internet. Now, one of the values of an Alexa ranking is the amount of money you can justify charging for advertising on your site. It can justify your going to another site and trying to create a joint venture or reciprocal event of some sort. Like I have Veritech. Veritech has a very good Alexa ranking. I take Veritech and I go knock on the door at InfoWars. I talk to Alex Jones. Say, hey, Alex, you got an Alexa ranking of around 63,000 or whatever, 36,000. I've got one of 19,000 or 16,000. I would love to have you send traffic to me, and in turn I will send traffic to you from my main site. I like Alex Jones. I'm a member of his stuff. If he went and looked at my site to judge it, and he didn't have Alexa, how would he judge that determination or that relationship? If he had Alexa and he went and looked and say, you know what? Alexa ranking is a good measurement. It can easily be manipulated at the higher numbers, but it's very difficult to manipulate it at the lower numbers. Do you understand what I mean by that? For Facebook to manipulate their system to go above Google would be very difficult to do because the numbers required are massive. But for you to go from 14 million to 1 million is easy to do because the numbers are easily manipulated because they're such small numbers. I wish I knew of a site that had 1 million. Anyway, we're going to go to Steve Cavan's site. His site has been slowly growing and rising in the search engines. And he's getting traffic. Don't get me wrong. And that's another thing about Alexa, is not everybody has the plugin. I'm assuming everybody in Veritech gets the plugin because it's an important tool specifically for you to be able to wait and assess what you're doing. Now, if you have the Alexa plugin on your browser, which you should, if you don't, at the end of this meeting here, I'll show you how to get it. Let's say you're going to hire an SEO person. They claim that they're the greatest, the best masters of SEO on the planet. And you go look at their sites, and they're all over 100,000, and after, or over 500,000. I mean, I go and do a search on the internet to bring up the top SEO members, and they're all way up there in the Alexa rankings. Now, it's hard to explain that you don't build your system up to being very, very powerful. You know, if the Warrior Forum said that they were an SEO system, I would be impressed. 137. And they do a lot of SEO stuff in the Warrior Forum, which some of it's good, some of it isn't. That's not the purpose of our meeting here. So understand how you should be working with Alexa. So let's go look at Steven's results. You can see little blips here. He has a reach of 0.00019. So I go and do the math on that. 0.00019 times 1 million equals 190 unique visitors a day. Now that's actually a more impressive number because let's go look back at his site. It's only one page. There is no other pages to view. So this is limited to one page, kind of like the Facebook phenomena. So his ranking of 800 or 700. Last time I looked, it was 800. I know it's improving almost on a daily basis because we're all working this thing. He's at the top of the search engines for home-based business, the term, which is this is a whole other side. We're going to talk about that later in another meeting. We're talking about Google's page ranking and how that applies to all this. But I'm giving you this lesson in Alexa so you really truly understand how it functions and how you can benefit from it if you understand it. So we know that StephenCavan.com is one page and that's it. He has 190,000 unique visitors or IP addresses coming to it on a daily basis. Now, let's just say we multiply that times 40, like the Warrior Forum. He would then have 7,600 unique visitors coming to his site, and that would put his Alexa ranking somewhere around 16,000. Okay, so you see how you kind of have to really do some analysis to actually see what it is that's really happening, because he may be ranking at 732 because he's got one page. Whereas if this was a forum or a blog and you multiply that 40 like we see happening at the Warrior Forum, it totally changes the numbers, but it's the same amount of visitors coming to the system. By the way, Stephen is a student of mine, and this is an excellent capture page. For a time there, Stephen was just focused on getting Alexa rankings and nothing else, and getting to the top of the search engines for particular keywords. But he went to his site, the site wasn't compelling and didn't drive people to sign up. Now it does. And Stephen is experiencing tremendous benefits from Veritech, and this is why he's asked me to do a conference for him this afternoon based on the kind of money, because I've explained it to him and he's like realized that he's onto something big. Okay, so we go to free SEO tools. This is a site that has about 150 pages to it. Backlink checker. All right, you're going to click on that. Goes to a different page. You come back. So as you go to this page and you see it has all of these really cool SEO tools. And if you look at every one of these, there's like 40 or 50 on here. So with that in mind, this is a site that shows up at the top of the search engines when you type in SEO tools. Because, well, it has that term, SEO tools. The SEO tool. The reason why I'm showing you these two is because this is a research and development site I'm doing on our hosting to create an SEO type of a service for all of you to have as one of your templates. Anyway, back to the SEO tools. So we go look at traffic stats and we'll get our page view. 0.00127. So 0.00127 times 1 million equals 1,270. But from looking at the site and kind of knowing sort of how this stuff works, because of the very fact that we analyzed Facebook to Google, then we looked at the Warrior Forum and know what the true number is on their site, and we're figuring, well, you know, this is not all one unique IP address. There's not 1,270 unique people coming to the site. There's a much smaller number of people coming to the site. So let's assume that we divide that by 20. That means the real number of people coming to that site on a daily basis is 63. That's a pretty good assessment in my book. And I would say getting 63 people a day, unique IP addresses to your site, would probably represent pretty good business. But the fact they view 20 pages pushes their Alexa ranking up to 165,000 instead of at Stevens at 732. Where in reality, Stevens' site's actually getting more unique visitors than this site. Okay? Does that make sense? Now you go to a site like just a second. You know what? I'm not sure where one is, so I'm going to go to my marketing.v2 site. Because I got my credentials there. And I'm going to go look at my PHP forums. Let's go look at this one. Okay. How many pages are in here? Well, you got this page, and you got this page, and you got that page, and you got that page. And you got, you know, this page, and you got this page, and you got this page, and you got that page. There's a lot of pages in here, right? That's not what I'm saying, Kevin. Do not make any assumptions on what I'm saying right now, all right? None. I'm teaching you so you understand what Alexa does, okay? We'll get to making assumptions at the end of the meeting. I'm just showing you that if I had a Well, if I have this um, forum, and if I had, let's say, 20 of you working with me with this forum, and you're all coming to this every day, and you're reviewing 30 or 40 or 50 of these pages a day, all of you, we could accidentally skew our results and all sit back and say, man, look at that, our Alexa ranking's really doing well, without even realizing that, there's 10 of us or even 5 of us and we're going to 100 pages. We could completely and totally confuse ourselves. That is, until you get under the number 100,000. In other words, it becomes more difficult for a small group of people to skew the results when it starts to become more competitive. So if your whole goal here is to trump up your Alexa rankings to make them better, yeah, you could do this. And in a small sense, it's a powerful thing in marketing to be able to claim you have a much higher Alexa ranking. But in reality, the purpose Stephen Cavan is doing this is not to brag about his Alexa ranking, but to actually recruit people into Veritech and upgrade them to gold, which is what he's doing. So this site here is making him money. He knows it's working. He's got stat controls in here with Veritracking and Google Sense and all that stuff. So he sees a whole other form of numbers, but he's also watching his Alexa ranking here. He's on this site now is bouncing around between page 4 and page 2 of a keyword term that gets about 20,000 searches a month, which is very big. Okay, are you understanding here what I'm talking about? Because we look at SEO tools here, and like I said, if you went to the site, I guarantee you probably will click on at least 4 or 5 of these links. This is a good site to have knowledge of, because it does have some pretty cool tools. If this is sitting, so here's another thing I want to ask you. If this site in fact is sitting at the top of the search engines for the word SEO tools or any other kind of SEO keyword, and in fact the site's getting 165,000, it's on page 1, and you divide that to getting about 60 people a day, what does that tell you about SEO? Is it a huge business? So you look at all these SEO firms out there, and their sites aren't that high. I mean, there's none of them are below 100,000. What does that tell you about the industry? It's an extremely competitive industry. That we know. Everybody and their brother claims to be an SEO master. We all have heard that, right? Is anybody here remember Sue Bennett? She was a flash in the pan in Veritech a couple years ago. Yeah. She went to one seminar of mine. The next day, she was an SEO master. She was out there advertising her SEO masterness. She didn't know a thing about it, but she was advertising it. How would you know? My point is that understanding how Alexa rankings work will give you a much better insight into how Alexa really works. There are other things Alexa does, and we'll cover that in a few minutes. We look at Veritech. Okay, Veritech has an Alexa ranking of 19,000. Now we're getting in there. Now we're getting competitive. And we're bouncing around in our traffic ranking as low as 16,000 in the 7-day. And you can see our curve here. We have a nice growth curve. Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. This is a really good, solid picture for Alexa curves. It's not manipulated. It's not funny business. Look at our reach. And our reach is about 8,000. Now, when you are in a Veritech 2 system, these tabs and all this stuff doesn't change your your URL. Going to your profile page does, going to other people's groups and stuff do. Mike just keeps making the system better and better, doesn't he? Look at that. Isn't that an awesome logo? Mr. Widget's an incredible developer. We are so fortunate to have this guy as our partner. So I would say that on the average, probably 4 or 5 pages people look at on a daily basis. So we have an Alexa ranking of 19,000. We go look at it. Our reach is 0.008. So let's go to 0.008 times 1 million equals 8,000. Divide that by 5. 1,600. So I would say in reality, and that's not a bad number, but I would say in reality that we have 1,500 to 2,000 unique visitors coming to our site in comparison to, let's close some of these out here, comparison to the Warrior Forum, which we know they have 17,000 unique people coming to their site, even though Alexa says it's a lot bigger. Now let's look at some of the other things that Alexa does for us. Yeah, this might not be the best one to look at. Let's go to Veritech. Sites linking in. Ava said that number hasn't changed ever. When the number gets bigger and bigger, it only shows you the one unique URL. So you go look at the one unique URL, Google. Google may literally have hundreds of thousands of sites pointing to Veritech's system, but they only give you one. YouTube could literally have hundreds of thousands as well, but they only give you one. They only show you one inbound link per domain. Doesn't matter how many subdomains, subdirectories per domain, period. That's it, the end of the story. Okay? So you could have an ever-growing number of people pointing to the site, but without any unique new domains. And they're only going to list the top 100. They're not going to list any more than the top 100. So this does sort of give you some insight into who is pointing to your site. What do I use this for? When it comes to things like when I'm doing keyword research. No, links in are not total backlinks pointing to the website, Clyde. They don't count all of them. They will not show porn sites, for instance, as well. And some of the sites that are pointing, they won't even show them if you read their stuff. And like I said, you could have 100 or 1,000 or 100,000 blogger.com accounts out there all pointing to your site and getting the juice from that. But Alexa's only going to show you the root domain, one. There's somewhere on blogger.com multiple, one or more, pointing to you. There's somebody over there on Reddit, it could be one or many, pointing to you. SecureServer.net, Warrior Forum, and they list them here by their ranking in Alexa. So the highest ranked Alexa site pointing to you will list here. Yeah, Veritracking does give you other results to make these to go in and make these assessments. But what is the whole purpose of assessing this information? Well, I want to know if my work is working, if are my efforts getting me results. Ultimately, I know my results are the number of signups I get in my business. But this is also a very important tool to determine you want to do business with another site. Okay, so this shows you the backlinks, and you can get a feeling of the strength of the backlinks that are coming into your site. Technorati, it's a powerful site. TweetMeme is. There's one here I saw just a minute ago that's not powerful at all. EmpowerNetwork.com actually has very little juice because it's let's go look at its Alexa ranking. All right, let me show you one that's bad. This is a bad Alexa ranking. Why is that? Why is this not good? Because it comes out of nowhere and just skyrockets. This is one of the 3 biggest red flags of a scam. And do you think Google looks at this? Hey, all of a sudden this site's come out of nowhere and now it has, let's just it's come out of nowhere to having 128,000 visitors overnight. So it gets the hairy eyeball. They're looking at it. So its amount of juice is limited. I got that from the insiders. I have a particular person I'm very fond of, who's the mother to one of my childs, working now for Google. And I get this insight. So do you want to do a link exchange or pay for advertising on this site? I don't know. I would rather be on somebody like InfoWars. There's another one on here, UpDowner. I don't even think UpDowner is alive anymore. I think they died, unless they're up and running now. The last time I checked, kept getting server failures. Yeah. They lost their domain. You know what that is there? That's not the company. Yeah, they do. Hold on a second, Clyde. This is Lifestyle for Me. That's a placard. Some domain buying company bought their domain. UpDowner.com is gone. They got a lot of really bad reviews. Well, they got one review here, but I'm talking about on the internet. UpDowner was considered some type of scam. I don't know. I didn't get to know it very well. I just noticed a lot of it pointing to our sites. All right, so those are some of the things you can to assess. Now, Clickstream gives you an idea where your traffic's coming from. 10.79% is coming from Google, 6.4% from Facebook, some from LinkedIn, Yahoo, Twitter, Blogfather, eWay, MyWatt, YouTube, etc. And then the same with people leaving, where they're going back to. Search analytics shows you your search traffic, and it'll tell you how much site traffic is coming from searches. It gives you the graph. Top queries for search traffic. This is the percentage of search traffic coming to your site on the keywords that are being used. So 27% of our traffic coming to Veritech is from people typing into their search engine field, Veritech. And this is usually caused by a lot of people who don't really know how to use the internet. And instead of typing an address up in the address bar, they type it into their splash page search bar, thinking that's how it's always worked. And so you get this skewed number here of Veritech. Sports contracts financing is the next one. So somebody's obviously doing a keyword after that, pointing to their Veritech site. Veritech V2. B12 shots. Well, that's something Don Conrad's doing because obviously his name's there. eBay Alan Seegers. Obviously that people are typing that in, looking for, and they're finding Veritech. I don't know why. It's still at the age of 58. I still wonder how people think. But we get these statistics here to help us to figure that out. Now these are searches on the rise, and these are searches on the decline. That's an increase, that's a decrease. It shows you the percentage of traffic that they've been responsible for. So there's a lot that you can do in your assessing your work using Alexa. One of the things that I do primarily with Alexa, this is my main thing. Let's say I'm searching for a keyword, integrated marketing. Okay, I search that. And because I have the Alexa plugin, it tells me right here what their ranking is. So I'm looking at Think Integrated Marketing, which is the top of the search criteria for that. And it has Alexa ranking of 1,837,000. So I'm going to go click on that, look at the backlinks. It hardly has any backlinks at all. This thing is wide open for being taken. It's not competitive. It's a very non-competitive field. Oops. Let's go back to that. Duct tape marketing has a high Alexa ranking of 16,000, but not necessarily for integrated marketing. So let's go and do some assessing there. We look at their search criteria: get leads using Twitter, my lead system, duct tape marketing, reputation management, Neil Patel, Facebook development. Those are the keywords that are bringing him in. Bring him his traffic. So you look at that and you're like, well, what do I want to compete on with him? Marketing system? Duct tape marketing. That's because he's branded. People know the name. He does speeches and seminars and stuff like that. So people are looking for him because he has branded. Just like people are looking for Veritech because we're branded. So these aren't necessarily great indications of that being a very strong in the search engines. Though he is stronger because his Alexa rankings are higher. So as you're doing search engine keyword analysis, the little bar here, the little Alexa plugin that you have, is a helpful tool at a glance. Yeah, I use word tracking. We will I'll do a unique or a special seminar just on that. So in recap, now you have a much better understanding of how Alexa works, right? And you know that anything over 100,000 is a lot more easily skewed than those sites that are below 100,000. And the relationship of page views, unique IP address, looking at how many pages. So you go look at a site like Michael or a Steven site and realizing there's only one page to this domain. So actually his 732,000 Alexa rank can actually be far better in what his traffic is than SEO Tools at 165,000. Okay. Now one more thing. How many people here have the Alexa plugin on their site or toolbar? Alright, go to this site, go to Alexa.com. You know what we're going to do? We're going to stop the screencasting. And I'm just going to take you there in the browser. Okay, did everybody see the page? Clicking on toolbar. Everybody see that page now where it says install Alexa toolbar? If you don't have it, this is the page you click on to install it. Now this will, because this is over in Internet Explorer, it's going to install for Internet Explorer. If you want to install for your others, just make sure you go and you pay attention to what you're doing. You should get everybody who comes into your organization to use this, teach them how to use this, to get the Alexa toolbar, for multiple reasons. One, it's going to improve your Alexa ranking on your systems. The people who are in your organization, in your group, in your network, are also have the toolbar. Two, it's going to improve our ranking, which then increases our ability to market and charge more for our advertising when and if the day comes where we put advertising in our system. Mike and I are assessing that. Alright, well, I want to thank you all for coming today, and I hope that this was informative. This will be and has been recorded, and it will be up on my site, as it should be.